And hello and welcome to the Pumpkin Coptercast, a good old podcast about video games. Today I am joined with my friend AJ Dispirito.
Hey, what's going on?
So, AJ, maybe you can just introduce yourself and tell all negative 7 people that listen to this podcast who you are and what you do and how it connects to video games.
All right. Well, hello, all the -7 people here. Um, my name's AJ. I'm a music composer. And what was your question about video games?
Right? Yeah, just how it connects to video games.
Well, pretty much the start of my music doing came from video game music and my liking towards it. Like I started piano about 10 years ago, and the first song that I learned was Tucson Arcane from Final Fantasy X. And I was like so into the song, I'm like, oh, I have to play this, even though I've never played the piano. So it took me like a month probably to learn just that song. And then from there, I just started learning other things. And I just started making music on the computer, just playing around with it. And I got more and more serious with it. And it was only because of video game music that I even wanted to do that kind of stuff. Like, also, like my favorite game OST is probably Mario Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
I got like into that game like way before playing an instrument, but just the soundtrack from that alone was something that I just loved so much. I'm like, I want to be a part of this somehow. So that's pretty much how I started there.
So, on your YouTube channel, what was one of the was it Mario Galaxy that was one of the first video game soundtracks that you remixed, or was it something else?
Uh, it was just about like pretty much just some Mario stuff in general. Some of the first remixes I did was for this little like animate the source filmmaker animation by this guy named Mega Man 765. It was called They Live in the Castle. I was friends with him at the time, and he was just looking for some music, and I was just like, hey, I'll do something. And then that's why I pretty much just started remixing Mario mainly, because well, besides just being mostly in the Mario, I just got used to doing Mario songs, so I just stuck to it at this point.
Mm-hmm. So, even though you do other musics on your channel, you just said that you have a special place in your heart for Mario. Why specifically Mario?
Well, it's funny because most people would probably say they played it as a kid, but I actually didn't. I didn't have any Nintendo stuff. I had a PlayStation 1. I had like Rugrats games and Disney games. That's all I played. Uh, nothing that good. But all my friends had like Mario 64 and everything. I was always into it, but I never got it until I was maybe around like 12 or 13, where I bought a 64. I played Mario, and then I bought a GameCube. I played Sunshine, and then I got a Wii and I played Galaxy, like all in probably 1 year, I would say.
Huh.
And I've been into Mario since then. But I didn't have it as a kid, so it's not like that nostalgic. It's more just midlife nostalgic.
So, and just putting that aside for a moment, in terms of actually playing video games, when did you first go from like, oh, video games to, oh, video games, this is one of the best things I've ever experienced?
Well, it's definitely with Mario. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
with I had like I said, I had a PlayStation 1 and I got a PS2 a little before that or after that. I mean, and I was just playing whatever. And I played video games all my life, but it wasn't until like Nintendo stuff with Mario that I was like, oh my god, I'm literally playing like the best thing I've ever looked at in my life. I don't know why. It's just that's just what Mario is. It's just something that really makes you feel like you're playing something special.
I know that. I had a similar feeling when I was 13, and my parents got me Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door for my birthday, and
Nice.
that's how video games slowly creeped into my life, and they've been there ever since.
Yeah, I still haven't played a Paper Mario, sadly, just because I keep like just saying I will, but I never do. But I've always wanted to play Thousand Year Door and Super Paper Mario.
The Paper Marios are definitely some of the trippiest of the Mario games, let me tell you.
Yeah, I definitely know it. A lot of people say that the Super one, Super Paper Mario on the Wii, has a great story, and I'm curious about that.
it's it's definitely not a story you'd expect to ever happen in a Mario game, which I think makes it all the better that, to me anyway, that they pulled it off fairly well.
I want to check that out one day. I haven't like downloaded on Dolphin. I just haven't gotten to it yet.
So, when exactly did you start your YouTube channel and started like devoting a solid chunk of your time to video game music?
Well, let's see. I opened that channel in 2011. Wasn't really remixing stuff at the time. I was just making original music.
Oh,
But it was like I told you about that Source Filmmaker show that I got involved in. It wasn't really until then that I was like remixing stuff. And probably was what was that, like 2013? Yeah, like a couple of years after that, I started to really like devote time to remixing music because I was making like original stuff too, but I wasn't really into it. It was more fun to like recreate video game tracks and everything.
hmm. So I don't know. When was there a specific video that caused you to like put your name, get your name out there on YouTube and the internet, or was it just sort of like a gradual thing?
I think it was mostly gradual. Uh, that involved in that little show definitely helped to start me, I guess. Uh, and I did some other little projects back in 2015, but since then I haven't. I've just been on my own doing stuff
Hmm.
that I wanted to do. So yeah, it's all gradual. You just got to keep making stuff, and it just slowly goes up. You know.
So there, aside from the Super Mario Galaxy soundtrack, which I wholeheartedly agree is fantastic,
Of course.
are there any other like video game soundtracks that you just at any given time just go and listen to while you're like doing something else?
Well, some of my other favorites, if I could think, would probably be. I mean, I've always been into Halo and all of the Halo music. Um, I've been into Skyrim. Elder Scrolls Skyrim is one of my favorite soundtracks, but it was because I just love the composer. Uh, that one I still listen to since the game came out. Uh, well, I don't know, like on the top of my head, I've listened to pretty much so many different things. I collect a ton of soundtracks. Lately, I've been listening to a lot of Zelda because I've been getting into Zelda this year. Uh,
Hmm. So just a quick tangent, just something. Since we're talking about Zelda music, something that's along that topic that I want to gush about since I've fallen in love with it since I first heard of it. Something I'd recommend for you is that a while back, this Irish video game music composer Emer Noon, she and her like music team did Irish remixes of like a bunch of Zelda songs from like back in the day to like the present, and it's great. All Irish music style.
That's pretty cool. Do they are these are you, do they like play videos like live or something?
It's a seed. Uh, I haven't checked out like all the bonus bits. I think there are videos, but it's mostly like after like after the Kickstarter and after they recorded everything, they put it out as like a digital CD.
Okay, that's cool.
So now that I'm done geeking out about that,
You should link me to that though. I'll check it out.
oh, oh well. Um, so yeah, we're just gonna move on to a more general video game conversation, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, what, if you can remember, what was like the first video game you ever played, ever?
Well, uh, just like a Rugrats, go to Paris or something like that.
Oh,
uh,
the classic.
yeah, it's stuff like that. Some Pixar games. I think I played a lot of this series called Twisted Metal, which
Uh,
was more of like a teen game, but I as like a 5-year-old I was playing it for some reason. I don't know, my parents didn't really know what ratings were, so I kind of just got some teen games and I was playing them. Uh, yeah, nothing special. None of like the good titles on the PlayStation, like Final Fantasy and all those things that people were playing back then. I wish I had those kind of games back then. Not just a bunch of bland movie stuff.
so, are there any, again, aside from Mario, because, saying Mario is a favorite of someone's is like saying the sky is blue, what are your other favorite video game series and why?
Um, I just gotta remember because there's of course a lot. Well, like I said Halo before. Uh, Kingdom Hearts
Hmm.
probably. Uh, what else have I played like Nintendo wise? What I'm like pulling the blank here for some reason. Uh, yeah, I can't say like I never pick up like so many games. Like I probably get like 10 times more game soundtracks to listen to than games themselves because I never feel like I want to put the time into it, even though I never regret that once I actually do it. But over the years, I've always just stuck to like Mario, and then I play Skyrim for like 500 hours. uh, and just some other titles. I think I've been a big fan of Sonic too, but I've never played a lot of those games. I mean, I played the adventure games. I played uh, Sonic Colors, Generations. I really liked, but Sonic was just always kind of like not really super into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what else. There's more. Oh, Bioshock. I love Bioshock. I've been in the Bioshock since the first one. Well, not when it came out, but a few years after it. But I've loved Bioshock a lot.
Um,
So
Me too.
I'll think of more as we go on. I just gotta remember.
I remember being very surprised when I figured out that a previous guest of mine, Bill Gardner, actually worked on Bioshock way back in the day.
You didn't know that, like, but you found it during an interview. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I kind of don't know the names of of like the people who put in who like figure out all like the meat and potatoes and the inner workings of a game. I usually don't find out who's done like the super duper technical stuff until years later, just because I'm dumb like that.
Dude, that's actually super awesome though.
So, uh, so I noticed back in a few days ago, I found your one of your Animal Crossing remixes on OC Remix.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
So, how did you discover OC Remix? And since I'm not a video game music person, what is like the process of sending like a song to them to have it featured on their channel?
Yeah, so I found out about them at a video games live show, and they're on like a traveling orchestra. Well, not the, well, sort of, that play video game music. And the guy that runs it, Tommy, well, he was talking about OC Remix once, and I was like, oh, that sounds cool. So I looked it up, and I saw that they had a ton of stuff, and I thought it was awesome. It wasn't until like probably last year. I'm talking about like 2013 when I heard about them, but it probably wasn't until 2016 I started to submit some stuff, and they have like a very detailed submission process. You have to send your music a certain way and give the right details, and then they have a bunch of judges that review the songs, and they'll either say what they like and what they don't like, and if they want it to go through or not. And if your song gets passed by these judges, then it goes on their site. And I have about 2 songs in there now, and it's
Neat.
pretty cool. Yeah.
Hmm. Let's see what else. So just just pulling talking points out of nowhere because I'm totally professional at this. Um, is there any moment in a video game, good or bad, that just made you just put the controller down for a second and just leave you slack jawed?
It's actually happened more than I would think because I never expect anything from in a story. Because some things that might be obvious to people, to me, would just be like, what in the hell would that have been hinted? Like, well, of course, like Bioshock, the games love doing that, and Bioshock Infinite, like, definitely shook me in so
Oh,
many different ways.
oh yeah.
Um, Stuff like, I don't know. Besides that, that's definitely the one that I could think of that definitely did. But yeah, a lot of games or stories in games just always, if unless they're kind of just bland, definitely get me going in a way, surprised.
Hmm.
I just finished Breath of the Wild, and I thought that was put together so well. Well, I'm talking about the story. Um, just the way they like you have to piece everything together with the memories. I thought that was really awesome. It was a great story.
For me, one of the more recent times a game has just left me speechless is the first time I booted up Journey. Did you played or heard of Journey?
Definitely heard of Journey. I love the soundtrack. I have, well, I sort of have the game. I'm borrowing my friend's PS4 and he has it. I haven't played it yet, but I've always wanted to.
Yeah, the first time I played that through that game, and even like the second and third time, I was just it's just absolutely visually and auditorially gorgeous from start to finish, and just huh.
It's a super gorgeous game. I agree on that.
Yeah. So
Oh, you
Oh,
know, something I played recently that actually definitely shook me up was probably Life is Strange. You ever play that?
I've heard of it. I haven't played any of it yet.
It's like, yeah, it's like that story-driven, kind of like choose your uh, destination kind of game,
Mm-hmm.
and because it constantly leaves you in these states that you have to make a decision, like a really huge decision. You're like, oh man, what am I going to do? And the story's fantastic and definitely a little stressful to play.
So, is there are there any is there any game or games that you have that you like but everyone else in your circles doesn't?
uh, Can't really say so because I'm kind of bad at picking up games myself. I always pick recommendations. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't have a lot of. I mean, I don't have anyone to play Splatoon with. I've been playing Splatoon since the first one came out, and I have the second one. But none of my friends really like it, so there's that one. I'm not sure what else.
For me, it's the Paper Mario game that was on the 3DS and the Paper Mario game that came out for the Wii U.
Sticker Star and Color Splash, right?
Yes, now I'm probably slightly biased towards Sticker Star since I got it as a birthday present a few years ago, but
Hmm.
Color Splash I decided to pick up just in between in between days of PAX, and like months later I finally got down to playing it, and my goodness was it a treat. Like it's they really in the later Paper Mario games they really dial up the weird and play up the paper style, which I just think is great. But
So you actually thought it was good? I've heard a lot of bad things about it.
they just when you get around to it, just a heads up in terms of gameplay, Sticker Star and Color Splash are very different from the first two Paper Mario's.
Right. Well, a lot of people say that about like when they're so into the older titles. Like just this year, I played my first Zelda game that I played since I'm getting into Zelda now was actually Skyward Sword, and I love this game. Even though the controls were kind of wonky, I thought it was just such a fantastic game. But everyone would be like, "Oh, dude, compared to like all the classic titles like Ocarina of Time, that game's a joke." And I'm like, "All right, well, I understand your nostalgic point of view." But this was a great game. I really enjoyed it. I still want to play Ocarina of Time too, and Majora's Mask, and all of those. But
Yeah,
Skyward Sword was awesome, I have to say.
I grew up with Ocarina of Time too, and even I can say that Skyward Sword was just this. I didn't I didn't pretty much up to that point I didn't play other Zeldas just because it's just for years until I got other game systems. I always thought Ocarina of Time was literally the only Zelda.
Right.
And then when I found out that there were others and a lot of them are drastically different, and I decided to give it a try. And like my first playthrough, it took me like 35, 38-ish hours just because of all the extra bits and bops you can do. And I'm just like, I was enthralled the whole time, but that's just me.
That's a long time to play a game, man. Wait, what am I saying? I played games for like Skyrim. Yeah. But yeah, no, that's cool though. It's a game like that you always want to like complete as much as you humanly can.
Yeah, just so you never have to leave it. So, without giving anything away, if you want to keep it secret, are there any other compositions of yours that you're looking forward to that you can give us a bit of a sneak peek on?
Yeah, I got a few things. I'm of course doing more remixes, Mario stuff, uh, stuff like that. I want to make a remix album at some point. I also have my other YouTube channel called Maker AJ, where I do my anime covers with my friend Matt, and we're making a lot more stuff. Another album maybe. So I got a few things on my plate, and some other things I don't really think I can talk about. So that's what I can say.
Huh. Neat.
Yeah.
So, and before we wrap things up, I have to ask you the question I have started to ask all of my guests. In your opinion, is video games? That's the question.
Is video games? All right, man. This is a really tough question, but I think I got the answer. All right, there you go. I hope you liked it. It was a tough one, though. It's a good question. I really think so. Thanks for the interview, man. It was fun to talk.
Yep. And that brings us to the end of the Pumpkin Copter Cast, a good old podcast about video games. If anyone's watching this, and if anyone who is watching this likes it, be sure to like, subscribe, blah blah blah. It really helps me out, and be sure to follow AJ Dispirito on his channel, AJ Dispirito,
Yes.
and his other channel, which I will hopefully have a link to in the description once this is up on the YouTubes.
Sweet, bro.
So, yes, thank you to everyone who tuned in for tuning in, and thank you to Mr. Dispirito for joining me today.
Very welcome.
And hopefully this will not be the last time he joins us on the show. But until then, everyone, goodbye.